the dribble. Deep two. Yes. Dropped it from the corner.
Pull up three. Good.
Step back three. That's a good shot for three.
Stepping through off the window. Good. Stepping through the raindrops and the finish on the right hand.
And then it's going to Boomers way with back-to-back threes. The Boomers, a WNBL chance.
Round 12 of the Cygnett WNBL tips off with a critical Wednesday night clash between two teams squarely in the mix for the finals. Just a couple of weeks ago, the final four teams looked all but set. However, the Perth Lynx had other ideas. Their promising young lineup finding its feet and launching into a 5-game winning streak that's elevated them right back into the finals equation. They've closed within a game of the top four. Tonight, they can draw level with the Spirit. However, Bendigo made a move of their own on Sunday when they knocked off the lead-leading Melbourne Boomers to close within a game of top spot. Can they now keep the Lynx at bay and the heat on Melbourne in the race for the minor premiership? It's round 12 WNBL action. The Spirit and the Lynx at Red Energy Arena in Bendigo. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to ESPN's WNBL Game of the Week for round 12. We've got an absolute cracker tonight. It's Jason Bennett alongside Championship coach Laurie Chiswick. Laurie, two in-form teams, as I mentioned, that look to be four teams breaking away from the pack. Perth have won 5 in a row. We knew it'd take them a little bit of time to find their feet, but they have.
Oh, have they ever, Jason? And when you talk about those 5-game winning streak, well, one of them was a really big scalp in the Southside Flyers. So they'll be feeling really good and really confident. But equally so will Bendigo. To knock off the Melbourne Boomers, who are sitting currently at top, they'll feel really confident. So both teams will come into this. They'll want head-to-head. They're talking about ladder position, getting into the top four. It's going to have everything in it tonight, Jason.
Yeah, lots to play for. It's going to be a fantastic game. Let's take a look at that league ladder through 11 rounds. And the top four, as we mentioned, has become a top 5 again. Given the teams have played a different number of games, you really need to pay most attention to the losses column. That's the true indication of where teams currently sit. So just 2 games separate first and fifth. The Boomers on 3 losses, Southside, Bendigo, Townsville on 4, Perth on 5. So if the Lynx can get the job done tonight, the Spirit will join them on 5 losses. Things will tighten up even further in the race for the final 4. Well, Lauren Jackson's been around. She's seen a lot of WNBL seasons, and she tweeted this week, it has to be one of the tightest playoff runs in our WNBL history. It's been tight before, but this is crazy. My memory's shot, though. Who knows? No, you're right, LJ. It's definitely going to make it for a fantastic run home to the finals. Anyone can beat anyone on any given night. Well, it's time now to welcome in the third member of our commentary team, and we welcome him to our ESPN Wednesday night team for the first time. Let's head courtside. Here's Liam Ellison. Liam, great to have you with us. Great to have you on the team. And some news out of Bendigo. Still no Kelsey Griffin.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Great to be here at Red Energy Arena. And that's right, no Kelsey Griffin tonight. We've got the word from the team that it is a week-to-week proposition with that hamstring injury. Luckily, from Coach Kennedy Kariyama's perspective, they've got some breathing room. 11-4, third on the table. They don't want to risk her. Obviously, they want a cherry ripe for finals, being the skipper and such a crucial member. They've had some similar luck with Tessa Lavey, who's had that calf injury. Bringing her back slowly has worked well for them at 11-4. Meanwhile, Perth, obviously hot on their tails in 5th position. They're in the midst of a 3-game East Coast road trip at the moment, staying in Melbourne. And as you said off the top, Jason, winners of 5 on the trot. They face top 4 teams in 6 of their next 7 games. So really, finals start now for the Lynx.
Yeah, it's a great point, Liam. We've got a critical run home over the next 3 or 4 weeks, playing all those other teams around them, Laurie, which creates a great opportunity. But we're going to start our keys to success with the Bendigo Spirit. They're chasing their 4th straight win. How do they get their 5th tonight?
Well, I think key for them is that they play some really good lockdown defense for 4 whole quarters, starting with D-Trans. When they played Melbourne in their last game, they gave up 46 points in the first half and then came out, played a different style of defense and kept Melbourne to only 30. So they need to play that sort of defense and offensively take care of the basketball. Get a good shot every single time down the floor. They need to limit those unforced turnovers and be really strong with the ball.
Meanwhile, the Perth Lynx have started making shots. Coach Ryan Petrick has stacked this team with talented long-range shooters, given them the licence to let it fly, Laurie. So how do they best set up those opportunities?
Well, win the rebound count, Jason, for sure. Secure that ball. The likes of Alex Sharp, Lauren Scherf, they're relentless on the boards. They're the best rebounding team in the league. And then that leads to rebound and run. They love to push the ball, run the lanes, put up early shots. And as you mentioned, they aren't shy in shooting a transition 3. Whitcomb, Bibby, they'll come. That's their style, and I'm sure they'll bring that tonight.
Yeah, that rebounding battle is going to be fascinating to watch. Bendigo #1 for offensive boards in the league. Perth #1 for defensive boards. And when you look, Laurie, at the overall leading rebounders in the competition, Kayla George is at 1, Maylee 2, Scherf 3. We've got some elite rebounders on both teams tonight. That's going to be absolutely critical.
Well, it is for both teams. The rebounding is so important, but we just saw the starting 5 of Bendigo, the starting 5 for Lynx. They're very settled. That group for both teams, they've got some great players coming off the bench, which will be needed in tonight's game. Coaches will rotate them, but here we are, ready to get underway.
So round 12 of the Cygnett WNBL tips off with a critical Wednesday night clash in Bendigo. The informed Lynx looking to take another giant step towards the top 4. The Spirit looking to return to the top 2, and it'll be a Bendigo ball to begin. Maylee to Wilson. Back to Annalee. Get some movement on the ball early. Wilson. Werung. Now Kelly, the veteran, gets to the line. Pulls out, looks for an opportunity. Maylee, does she go from 3? Wants to take her man on. Works on Atwell.
She needed to get that shot up because the clock, it was almost a shot clock violation.
Here's that speed on the ball we talk about. Robbie Ryan slices through traffic.
That's what they like. If it's not a 3-point shot, drive it to the basket. Defense wasn't set. That's going to be really important for Bendigo.
Ryan Petrick plays a pace and space offensive philosophy. Here's Wilson. It's a little short. Scherf tidies it up. Back to Ryan once again. Really settled into the league nicely, Robbie Ryan. Scherf against Froling. Crossed it over the top looking for Atwell, but it's picked off by Kelly Wilson. Will she go herself once again? Wheels around this time. She does. Little hook shot. Won't go. Alex Sharp, one of those powerhouse rebounders that Laurie mentioned early. Scherf. Whitcomb looks to kick it out. Well read by Maylee. Cuts off the pass to Ryan.
Both times down the fourth, both teams really unforced turnovers. They really need to make sure that they're taking care of the basketball.
Wilson to Maylee. Run. Kelly steps through some traffic. Again, she looks to pull out, look for an option. She goes to Froling, who finishes on the left.
Nice finish by Alicia Froling. In that Melbourne game, she came in and played such crucial minutes in that fourth quarter. Some of her rebounds, some of her finishes.
Robbie Ryan over the top. Scherf posting up against Froling. Nice finish from Lauren. Ryan Petrick says they just keep adding layers to her game and asking her to do more and more, and she just keeps accepting the challenge and delivering. She's having a career best season. Shot from Werung won't go.
Well, I would assume that one of the game plans is to go inside to Scherf as much as possible, because she does have a height advantage, especially with this lineup that Bendigo, they're playing for speed, and we can see it there.
Maylee, Froling, pops it over the top to Alicia. It's nicely read and slapped away by Whitcomb. Ryan, busy early. Pull up, 3 attempt there from Atwell. Both teams looking to settle on offense. It's been a little bit frenzied early. Maylee goes herself. She can't finish. Points hard to come by in the first 3 minutes. Whitcomb. Even Sammy can't get it to drop right now.
Well, that's what we talked the last 2 times down the floor. First Atwell, then Whitcomb. Just a transition basket, testing the waters.
Wilson to Werung. Screen from Froling. There's a foul on Atwell. So neither team able to get into their offensive rhythm just yet, Laurie.
No, they can't. And one thing, if you just watch the way Alicia Froling set that screen, she had a really wide base, so her feet were apart. She was really down low, so she was really solid and hard to get through. And Amy Atwell just can't keep trying to push her way through.
Alicia takes a seat. Wilson to Maylee, to Kelly Wilson. Meg McKay into the game for Froling. There's Ali to McKay. Will she go herself? She will, to set up from the free throw line. Finds some space, finds 2 points, scores a level.
Good decision. If they're going to back off, that's certainly within her range.
Whitcomb. Will she go herself? Wraps around. You can see the pass was intended over the top for Bibby.
Wickham's so crafty when she comes off an on ball and the way she uses the screen and baits the players. But we can see here just a nice elbow jumper by McKay.
Ryan Patrick says his side doesn't generally defend the bigs when they're shooting from range. They're happy to let them take shots. I'm not sure that shot particularly. He's probably thinking from a little further out than that, I would imagine. Corner shot here is good. Warren's found her range early. And the Spirit have found the lead.
Well, Warren, 5 from 6 against Melbourne from the three-point line. She was on fire, and it's nice to see her continuing in today's game.
Wickham against Wilson, two of the great veterans of the league. Sammy steps through. Can she finish? She draws a foul in the process.
And she's so hard to guard when she comes off of an on-ball situation. But there, good vision by McKay. But back to Sammy, she gets her defender behind her back and she reads the defense. Are they coming? Is somebody open? Should I shoot it?
78% free throw shooter for her career. 23 of 26 so far this season. There's Ryan Patrick watching on. Game 2 of a 3-game East Coast road trip for the Lynx. Sammy makes them both and it's a 1-point game. Kelly to Ali, the Wilsons combine. Little feed inside to McKay was clever. Both on the same page.
McKay's having a good influence in this game. A couple of baskets, a nice assist to Warung.
Good come off to Atwell. He can get hot from long range. Scherf, tough finish. Wilson tries to slap it away. There's Atwell, lovely find to Bibby. Team starting to settle a little bit now. Midway through this opening term, Maley. Warung, McKay, back to Abby. Ali Wilson. Will she take on Atwell? She will. Wow. And one.
I've been so impressed with Ali Wilson. She's got a lot of stars around her and she sort of goes about her business and doesn't always get the recognition, but she just dropped that inside shoulder, found her defender, went into her. So she absorbed the contact, finished, and an and one.
So talented. She was the Rookie of the Year way back in 2014, a 2-time champion with the Fire in 14 and Sydney in 17. But she found herself out of the league midway through last season. Had an opportunity, came in as an injury replacement, really shone in the back half of the season for Bendigo. Earned her spot. She's having a fantastic season.
And I like the way she plays defense. She's nice and long and she's really active with her hands and you know, she's good at containing perimeter players. I think she's been excellent this year.
Well, she replaced Leilani Mitchell, who was pregnant early last season. So Ellie got her opportunity after not being on a roster. And she's a critical part of this Spirit team as Scherf rolls to the rack. Kelly Wilson aggressive inside to McKay, can't finish.
I like the fact that McKay ran right to the point of the rim and presented as a target, just couldn't finish.
Scherf again, it's part of a game that's really added another dimension to playmaking. Whitcomb, shot clock to single digits. There's Scherf, kicks it out, nice ball movement. Can Ryan finish? You betcha.
Use of the on ball, roll, get it inside, recognize what the defense, kick it back out.
Maley finds herself in space. Can't knock down the two. Sharp comes away.
See Perth running, pushing, exploring early.
Ryan finds some space, goes herself. It's part of the Ryan Patrick philosophy, that pace and space. They try to get it through hands as often as they can in the first 8 seconds of the shot clock and try to generate an opportunity to score, confuse the opposition defense, get a breakdown. If they can't do that, then they've got some strategies for the middle 8 and the final 8 seconds on the clock. He's sharp, so again, you see her just take it straight to the hoop. Can't finish. Wilson, Warung. Plenty of speed on this game. McKay, as you mentioned, Laurie's had a real influence and a very different style of play to Alicia Froling. It's pretty handy for Kennedy to be able to mix and match.
Well, I really like, well, that's exactly right. So she's come on, she's given them a real inside presence. She's running the floor well, and she's finishing with contact, with physicality. So that was a good sub, and you know, coming off the bench, sometimes you can just watch a little bit of the flow of the game to begin with and get a feel for it and then come in. But she's really held her own in these minutes that she's been playing. And now we see Froling sub in, and it'll be a slightly different game again.
Scores locked up with just under 3.5 minutes remaining in the opening term. 15 apiece. ESPN's Wednesday night WNBL game of the week. Great to have you with us on ESPN and KO Sports. Scherf guarded by Froling, who's back into the game. Lauren takes it straight to the rack. Away comes Annalie Maley. Wilson, lovely. And it drops for Froling.
Oh, I think Perth got a little bit of their own medicine there and a bit of run and gun action by the by Bendigo.
Ryan, so dynamic in this opening term. Just always on the hunt to try and get to the hoop. And sharp with a really nice finish.
And that's what I was talking about. She goes to the offensive rebounds every time. She's almost like an Annalie Maley in a sense. She competes, she goes for them, and was rewarded that time with a nice finish.
Ellie Wilson. To Levy, who's into the game, and Tessa. Great to have her back.
It certainly is, and in her first game back last week against Melbourne, she shot 3 from outside, so she's continuing on.
Bibby can't quite respond. Ryan keeps it alive. Tessa Levy, 7 for 12 this season from three-point range. She's been red hot from distance, and she's got the ball in hand again. Can she get herself to a shooting position? Wants to pop it over the top, goes herself. What a handy addition she's been. Missed the start of the season, obviously, with Richmond and AFLW. They had to manage her load, had a calf injury, missed 3 weeks. They were conservative with the management of that, but it's wonderful to have her back. This time out brought to you by CTM Sport. If you're considering travelling interstate with your sporting team, consider ctmsport.com.au to learn more. Let's take you inside the Perth huddle. Here's their coach, Ryan Petrick.
Right now, again, like we've got point guard by committee with all 3 of you. So I want to be in flat series on a make. Again, the 5-out series on a miss. Rebounding from corners has been fine. Be aware in deep trans, like, yeah, especially if Loz shoot deep, they're going to play their 2 centres like 20 minutes each. They'll be fresher than Loz. But again, on that sprint out, that's again got to become a guard. Once she gets deep, get around and front it. And once Loz can get there, she'll then scram you out. But that last one, like, we all ran to the 3-point line everywhere, and they just ran for a layup.
Someone was there and then ran to the like, you can't leave that.
Yeah, we can't. Again, same as our offensive, like free throws, layups, threes is what we're trying to take away in the same order. Good.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Let's go again.
So the biggest
breaker into flat.
The biggest compliment Ryan Petrick could pay, really, to Bendigo is he said they play an effort game, Laurie. They've done the scout. They say they play as hard as anyone in the competition. That DNA of Annalie Maley is spread throughout the group. Liam, Alison was in the Bendigo huddle.
The offense so far is Coach Kennedy Kerryama obviously put up 22 on the board already. One thing I have noticed, though, is Chloe Bibby has a lot of support here in the crowd, just from Warwick Nabil. So there's a lot of friends and family that have travelled to be here today.
Yes, that's a really good point. Chloe Bibby from Warwick Nabil. Spent a few years at Dandenong, then went away to the States, Mississippi State and Maryland. So rare opportunity for family and friends to see her live in action. The side trails by 5. 2 minutes to play, and there is Chloe, ball in hand, hands it off to Whitcomb to try and slash the margin.
That little step back 3 for Sammy Whitcomb. It's you can't guard it. Levy was right there with the hand.
Maley, Kelly Wilson, screen comes from Froling, allows Wilson to get to the hoop. And this track meet continues of up and back. Pace on from both teams right now. This is Taya Burrows into the action. She's stripped of it by Wilson. She'll get it back. Good pressure. She's got Ryan over the top. Will go herself. She goes herself. 2-point game. Approaching the final minute. Opening term. Red Energy Arena in Bendigo. Levy. Froling back to Tessa. To the corner. Wilson over the top, Froling the spin move. Good pressure from Edwards, then the block. Late whistle. Perth ball. Good work there from Jessie Edwards. And then from Robbie Ryan with the active hands at the other end.
That's right, Kelly Wilson. She was a bit disappointed in that because she'd come up with a great steal and then lost it herself.
Final 50 seconds of the opening term. Taya Burrows, 20-year-old from Bunbury. 4th year with the Lynx. Exciting youngster. Ryan, screen from Edwards. And once again, she manages to get to the hoop but can't finish. Here's Maley on the break. Over the top to Werung. Can't finish, but Tessa can.
Great follow-up. Great effort, first of all, by Waring. Good pass, good kick ahead. Missed it, but there is the follow-up. Great job by Abby Werung.
Burrows tries to put a move and a step on Wilson. Veteran does enough to pressure her out. And Werung to Maley. Long ball. Lavey back to Wilson. And she sets up for the final shot of the opening term. Against Ryan. Weaves her way through. Will go for 3 to finish the opening term. Lavey can't hit the mark. Quarter time.
Defensively, we're just going to make sure that once we get them shooting the shot we want them to shoot, that there's reward at the end. That's by getting the stop and then getting there on the other end of the floor. Or, you know, we're just going to eliminate the easy lapses we've given them so far. That's keeping them in the game, okay? From a defensive standpoint, we're going to make sure anytime we attack off a regular and we roll, if you're this player here, you've got to lift behind, because right now we're holding here. We can't find the roller. We're turning and pivoting to find the shot. That's our lift and drift action in our drills. So we should be conditioned to do that. Next play here, let's go open between Laves and Cal. So you can place them one now, give Cal a spell. Into a curry action with you, okay? If it's not on though, I want us to shift it back and then into a regular with males in the corner. We've used screening. Okay, so Lave's going this way with Cal. Cal's going to the curry action with Abby, who's here. If there's nothing on, swing it back this side and then we're in the regular. Defensively, can we please, I want us getting after Ryan more. Like, we're just giving her far too much room. Here we go. Spirit.
Quarter time, Red Energy Arena in Bendigo, ESPN's WNBL Game of the Week. It's the 3rd place Spirit against the 5th place Lynx. Critical game in the race for the top 4 and finals. And after both teams struggled to put points on the board in the opening 3 minutes, things started to open up, and by quarter time, Spirit 26, Perth 22 as we start the second term. Jason Bennett, Laurie Chiswick and Liam Allison for ESPN's Game of the Week. Here's Wilson. Feed through to Froling, and Alicia joins the party.
Great positioning by Alicia Froling. Just found herself right in front of Sherp, used her other arm to extend out to protect the ball and was able to finish.
Burrows with speed, takes on Lavey and finishes herself. Good confidence booster for the youngster.
Both teams, and I would have thought they'd talked about it at quarter time, but D-Trans has got to be crucial for both teams.
Maley. First points of the game for Annalie Maley. Who's been averaging 17 a game.
However, she does have 6 rebounds already.
Can't keep her out of the game completely. Lovely finish off the glass from Sammy. 4-point game. Wilson looking for some movement. Comes from Lady, back to Kelly Wilson. Maley runs into a dead end in the form of Taya Burrows. Wheels around, gets to the stripe. Away comes Taya. Her speed critical right now. We talk about their ability to get it inside, and it opens things up for those three-point shooters, Laurie. We saw it there. There were three of them scattered around the arc waiting for the kick out.
Well, it was a good push and inside the arc forced the defense to collapse, and there was Scherf waiting as a trailer.
Picks up the rebound. She put some speed on the ball as well.
Oh, she's showing us some little guard action there.
Gibby can't get round past Maley, but a lovely roll to the hoop from Sharp. Nicely worked from the Perth Lynx, and you can see that plan to go quick, see if there's something on early, Laurie. If there isn't, they can start to run a couple of sets.
Well, there's no question they explore that first 8 to 10 seconds of the shot clock and see, because often the case is the defense is back, but they're not set.
Maybe shot short. Couldn't quite control it, so another opportunity here for the Spirit. Tessa steps through one, draws a crowd, off to Annalee. That was dropped for Maley.
Great block out by Alex Sharp.
Now has the ball. Pops one over the top. Scherf versus Froling. Lauren Wheels spins, can't finish. Maley to Leahy to Wilson. Run over the top. Alicia for the deep two.
Both teams are getting up and down for not a lot of reward right now, Jason.
A reminder of early in the game, isn't it? The first couple of minutes when points were hard to come by. That's a lovely finish from Sammy Whitcomb. She's up to 9. Leads the game for Perth. 7 for Robbie Ryan. 6 points or 7 points to Levy and McKay. Well, our halftime feature tonight is on Lauren Scherf, who's having a career best season. That's to look forward to coming up at halftime.
Kicks it back out to Scherf to get her scoring underway.
I really adapted to the Perth lifestyle. Absolutely love it over there. Living near the beach, being around my friends and having multiple people that fully support me. Yeah, I think that's what helps me play better basketball is, you know, being surrounded by people that genuinely care and want to see you succeed. And I think that just helps, you know, yourself as a person to be able to achieve what you want to do in life.
Scherf, the 26-year-old, really coming of age. And she's a critical part of this program for Ryan Petrick, as we mentioned in the call. Ryan telling us during the week, Laurie, that he just keeps loading more and more up on Lauren Scherf, and she finds herself capable, so they give her another challenge. She meets that as well.
Well, he is a big rap for her, and so he should be, because she has really led this team, and the combination of her and Sammy Whitcomb is so hard to defend, and I like the way she keeps improving on her game, Lauren Scherf. You know, there were times where she'd get the ball inside, but maybe not quite finish, but she looks so much more assertive now when she's out there playing.
So Bendigo led by 6 at one stage. Perth Lynx have managed to draw level with 7 minutes to play, rather, in the second term. Werung to Maley, and now Wilson. Back to Abby Werung. Kelly Wilson gets a screen from McKay. Kicks it back out. Werung goes back inside. McKay, good defence here from Scherf. Megan goes one way, goes the other. In the end, that's a lovely finish. Patient from Megan McKay.
Absolutely patient. She looked, she thought she had an initial basket. You look here, nothing. She maybe looked to pass it, stepped around. That's not easy. That's not an easy move. Stepping baseline and getting your body around to be able to finish at the rim.
Same age as Lauren Scherf, the age of 26. Megan McKay spent 5 years at St Mary's. Off to Germany for a season. A year with the Fire, now into her second year at the Spirit. A very, very handy player in this competition. Ryan, hustling and bustling as always, kicks it back out. Here is Scherf from range. There's Sharp. You mentioned her ability to crash the glass. Couldn't quite finish on this occasion. And Maley off to Kelly Wilson. To Ali Wilson from long range. Not sure. 8 points to 6 in the first 3 and a bit minutes in this second term in favour of the Lynx. Trailed by 4 at the break. Margin now 2. Atwell. Good pressure from Wilson. Almost everything but the steal. Scherf to the corner for Bibby. Can she get going? Rattles around. Kelly Wilson. To Werung. Steps around Atwell. Look to feed it through to McKay. Off the foot, and it will remain a Spirit ball. So both offences really started to get rolling in the back half of the first term, Laurie, but points have become hard to come by once again.
Well, it is a bit of a stutter right now, and they're taking good shots. There's good ball movement. Like, it's really high-quality basketball. The defense, there's a lot of switching that goes on. Just not finding the bottom of the basket, either team.
Wheels around, lovely finish. Just kisses it off the glass. The Spirit lead by 4. Atwell. Lynch Hoycard. Before the defence has got time to set, and Mack gets the and one on Wilson.
That was a good decision. There was only one defender between her and the basket when on that kick ahead, and Ali Wilson just wasn't quite in position. So good recognition to take it strong to the basket and finish.
24-year-old from Kalgoorlie, playing game number 28 this evening. Spent 1 year at college in Hawaii back in 2017-18. Reduces the margin to 1. Listen to Maley. Aggression there from Werung. Now Wilson puts it on the floor. Tough shot. The 2 rebounders for Perth get in each other's way. Lynch Hoycard throws her head back in frustration as they fumble it out. Bendigo will retain possession.
Well, I think as a coach, you'd rather that sort of effort. 2 players going after it and bumping into each other than nobody at all. I'll live with that.
Approaching the midway point of the second term.
It's a bit of a grind right now.
Kelly Wilson to Levy. McKay sets the screen. Levy steps to her left, off the iron. Off hands. Bendigo ball. Wilson to Maley. Maley, season opening. Again, can't finish. No scuttles Ryan. Scherf. Here's Atwell. More than capable from long range is Amy Atwell.
She sat for a little while in that first quarter with 2 fouls, so it's good for her confidence to come out and nail that shot in the second quarter.
The turnover from Levy, picked off by Sharp. Now Ryan from long range. Good 30 seconds here for the Spirit, or for the Lynx rather, and they're up by 5. Biggest lead of the game for Perth. And they're going to get another opportunity here, another turnover. Lynch Hoycard. It's knocked away.
Oh, I think they were really lucky, Bendigo. They got out of jail there with Levy just getting that deflection. Otherwise, that was a wide open layup.
So great minute of basketball there from the Perth Lynx. And they've come from 6 points down at one stage to now open up a handy lead midway through this second term. This timeout brought to you by Cygnett, naming rights sponsor of the WNBL this season, for their extensive range of digital accessories. Log on to cygnett.com. Let's listen to Kenny. Doesn't look happy.
Can we just have some damn poise on offense? You've got to still look to attack jump switches. All right, but then have the poise, and if there's a crowd there, bounce out, shift the ball. Next offense, weak, just regular weak. You bring it up. All right, you're in our corners. You get Cal in the pick with Meg. Defensively, we need to communicate. And pick up early, stay in front. One-on-one containment. We spoke about this.
You can see the sweat sparkling on Kennedy's forehead. Did mention to us that it does get very, very hot in that stadium, Red Energy Arena. There's Kelsey Griffin. What a wonderful resource for Bendigo. She can't be out there playing at the moment due to that hamstring, Laurie, but we know she's one of Australia's sharpest basketball brains. Great to have her watching courtside.
Well, not only watching, but encouraging her teammates, giving them some advice, giving, you know, from the bench. Sometimes things can look very differently, and you'll often find players that are injured that have to sit on the bench and maybe take a coaching role. They come back and they say, oh, it's so much more difficult to coach than we thought, because you can see different things that aren't happening, but it's great that she's involved.
So Perth sees the momentum before that timeout. Can they keep it rolling here? They're up by 5. Scherf That's great touch off the fingertips. It's a 7-point game, and Liam Ellison was in the Ryan Petrick timeout. Liam, I presume he's pretty happy.
He is, and Sammy Whitcomb very involved as well, just ironing out a couple of things offensively. One thing they're happy with, defense is turning into offense. Keep that going was the word.
And they've just done it again there. They've forced 3 or 4 turnovers now. That's a lovely pass inside, and the Lynx are rolling.
Well, they are playing really great team basketball. They look so connected out there right now, Jason. Just they're reading each other, their movement. Everything is in sync.
Well, one of your keys to the game, Laurie, pre-game for Bendigo, take care of the ball. They're killing themselves at the moment with these turnovers. Levy, can she stop the rock? They needed that. It's a 7-point game.
Well, there's a difference between uncontested turnovers and somebody playing great defense, and they've been their own worst enemy at times.
Lauren Scherf spoke about her playmaking. That's a beautiful pass inside to Atwell. So now it's up to Bendigo to respond here. Sammy Whitcomb back into the game with Chloe Bibby. Perth feeling good about things. .3:15 to play in the first half. ESPN WNBL game of the week. 3rd versus 5th. Massive game for the Lynx, who play top 4 teams in 6 of their next 7 games. So for them, this is really the start of their finals campaign tonight. They need to be playing their best basketball. Win tonight, they join the Lynx at 5 losses. So it's a huge game for them. Right now, they control it by 7.
It is a big test for them, but you want that at this time of year. You want to know where you stand.
Scherf shot a little heavy. Away comes Kelly Wilson. And Bendigo wrench the momentum back. Levy, Werung. She sets up from long range. Troy Card pulls down the board. Maley adds the pressure. Here's Bibby. Scherf back to Chloe. Back to Lauren Scherf. Slapped away by McKay. Perth will retain possession.
Perth are just really moving that ball around quickly. When they get it up there and they push it, if nothing's there, they're kicking it. They're getting an on ball. They're moving it on. They're diving.
Whitman hits the floor. Scherf. It's a little shake move on McKay, and then a lovely spin. Can't finish. Wilson tried to pop it over the top. Another turnover. This time it's Atwell's got support. Will she go herself? Well done, Werung. Whitcomb the follow-up support. Clint Troy-Card in the corner. And they keep it alive. Scherf. Atwell. Stares down Abby Werung and just shoot a 3 straight over the top of her.
And that whole possession was caused because of that unforced turnover from Bendigo.
Kelly Wilson. Once again, we see her attack the hoop and then kick it out, try and create some space. But Perth weren't biting. This time it's Levy. Through to McKay. Can't finish on this occasion. Clinch Hoycard's had an impact since she's been in the game. Lovely finish from Atwell.
Need to close out a little bit closer than that for Atwell. The scout on her is absolutely a 3-point shooter. Close out long, carry a hand, make her put it to the floor.
So it's a 10-point game. Perth leading the term 24-10. Plenty for Kennedy Kariyama and the Bendigo unit to work on at the half. Just under 2 minutes to play. Can the Spirit stem the flow here? Or can Perth keep rolling and extend this lead? Whitcomb, pressure up the court from Werung. Will Sammy go herself? Kicks it to Bibby. Offensive board from Atwell. Perth doing the little things well right now. Wilson to Maley. Can Annalise start to get hot? Just can't find the bottom of the hoop, and you can see her frustration. They've had some looks, Laurie. They're just not dropping for them right now.
Well, they have, and I would think now is the time. Well, there's a minute and a half left, but they should have slowed things down a little bit, get it through hand, shift the defense, rather than taking. Perth make you play that because they like that running style of game. They make you play a hurried up type game, and that's what's happening to Bendigo right now.
Maley knocks it away. Perth will retain possession. So Bendigo 16 for 40 from the floor at 40%. Perth are going 20 for 39 at just a tick over 50. So having a great night so far shooting-wise are the Perth Lynx, and that was Ryan Petrick's main takeaway from early in the season when they had those tough games. They weren't shooting the ball well, but they've certainly found their range in recent weeks. It makes them extremely dangerous, extremely hard to guard as Robbie Ryan lays in another three.
That was a well-executed play, and another unforced error resulted.
Oh, that hurts.
Oh, that hurts. Sammy Whitcomb is going to nail that every time.
It's 18 points. The Spirit are hemorrhaging right now. They need half time. They need those points. They've got to stem the bleeding here. They trail by 16.
Well, they do need halftime to go away and talk about it. 54 points the Lynx have.
Sammy. Not this time, but they get another offensive opportunity. And so many are capable from long range. Ryan's been fantastic in this first half. She's been the instigator of most. Into hit clinch Hoy card, gets a second opportunity and finishes. One last play here for Bendigo. Wilson. Shot clock to 5. Off to Maley. It's short. It tells the tale of the first half for Bendigo as Annalene Maley clenches her fists in frustration. What a second term from Perth. They trailed by 4 at quarter time. They've come out and lit up the Spirit with 34 points in that second term. It's Perth 56, the Spirit 38. Perth by 18 at the break. Scintillating basketball from the visitors.
My goodness. I mean, to put on 56 points, and we talked about the Spirit needing to play that defense, and it's just gone out the window. But having said that, Perth are shooting the lights out.
Liam Allison with Sammy Whitcomb.
Sammy, some finish to that second half. How do you keep the momentum going?
Yeah, I mean, it's coming from our defense, so we have to make sure we lock in on that and keep matching the effort there, one and done, and then we can run it out because I think that's really working for us. Defense
into offense, is that the key from Ryan?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been the thing that we've had to kind of focus on all year for us. I think, offensively we're pretty potent, but defensively that can be sometimes where we find ourselves watching, and we have to make sure that we're the ones that are, I think, more aggressive.
Thanks, Sammy.
They forced 6 turnovers in that first half.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna more weave it into the call if we get the opportunity.
Yeah, I think that's better too. If Alicia's at the foul line or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Wow, that was
impressive.
Impressive.
Yeah. 34 points in a quarter.
Yeah.
I think give Laurie a chance to talk about their ability to run the floor and the speed, and even, I don't know if you put together a package of their turnovers and stuff that they created in the second quarter, but it was certainly that defence to offence. That's the story of the game.
Absolutely. I mean, whew.
It's a great thing about this league. You just have no idea what to expect every night, do you, when you turn up? Like, you get no idea. Is this going to be a close game? Is it going to be a blowout one way or the other? You just got no clues.
Need any chocolate, sugar?
All good, thanks.
No, I'm good, thanks.
I couldn't believe that it was over. Like that went slow to begin with, and then boom.
And it was the same in the first quarter.
Yeah.
It was 3 minutes of hardly any scoring, and then suddenly things loosened up. Geez, Robbie Ryan's been good.
Yeah. So 6 turnovers Bendigo have, is that right?
Yep. Yep. 6 steals for Perth in a half of basketball.
Yeah.
Compared to 2 for Bendigo. Ah, that's better.
Kicks it back out to Scherf to get her scoring underway.
I really adapted to the Perth lifestyle. Absolutely love it over there. Living near the beach, being around my friends and having multiple people that fully support me. Yeah, I think that's what helps me play better basketball is, you know, being surrounded by people that genuinely care and want to see you succeed. And I think that just helps, you know, yourself as a person to be able to achieve what you want to do in life.
1, 2, 3, Australia, who have towered above everyone else in their pool.
That was just honestly surreal. Being a part of that team and being in that atmosphere and being able to come away with a medal just really meant a lot to me. It's everything I probably ever dreamed of. I wish I could just relive it all over again.
Who then gives it to Scherf, who steps out for 3 from the corner.
I am so glad she made that.
The girls that were there last season, I think that we all feel a bit of unfinished business and like we've still got work to do.
Final 10 seconds, and Guy Malloy's team is going to go from contenders to champions.
I think that will help, you know, with a bit of a fire in our belly. I'm really like enjoying the atmosphere of these girls, and I really can't wait to see what we all bring.
Well, the 26-year-old in her 10th season after being Rookie of the Year way back in 2015, Laurie, and she's never played better. 15 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists a game. She leads the league in blocks, 3rd for rebounds. She's just having a fantastic year. It's a great story.
I love the fact that she's not only scoring, but for having a big girl to have that, to be 4th in the league in assists is great. Usually it's your little guards, but she's got great basketball IQ. And as I said during the call, she's playing so assertively right now and with so much confidence, shooting the 3, presenting inside, spin moves, whatever. You know, it's really nice to see that she's hit her straps at this stage of her career.
She's added that level of playmaking to her game. And, well, we speak about impressive. Well, how about that second quarter from Perth? How impressive was that? They put on 34 points to go from 4 points down to 18 points up. 34 of their own, Laurie, and held Bendigo to just 12 points for the term, and it was that classic defence into offence.
Well, I would have to say that's one of the best quarters of basketball I've seen by any team, both ends of the court. And as you said, offense or defense to offense. Their defense, they were switching, they stuck to their rules, they communicated, they created steals, and they were looking to explore in that first 8 seconds of the shot clock and play some 2-man game. They just really are in sync with each other. Oh, and that steal, Sammy Whitcomb sealing that, but they were in trouble, Bendigo. They've got some real, numbers to make up in this next half.
They only have one more shot and they've 18-point lead. They're shooting at 52% Perth, 44% from the arc, winning the rebounds, winning the steals, winning the points in the paint. Gee, Bendigo got some work to do to turn this around.
Well, they do, and one of the main things is their turnovers. They're turning the ball over. Not necessarily because Perth's putting such great pressure on them, but they're unforced. I think they're rushing a little bit. They're feeling that scoreboard pressure. They're feeling the pace that Perth are playing at. So, yeah, they do need to make some changes this half. Perhaps slow the game down, control the tempo, get it on their terms.
We'll see what they come up with after the break. Third quarter action coming up. Wednesday night hoops on ESPN. It's the Lynx by 18 points. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say to you, the heels. Oh, well. That's a logical time. When we talk about the games to come, we can mention Sydney and then come back on camera and talk about that.
We're not going to win the game in this quarter.
No, exactly. Get it to 12. Anything within 12 is good.
It's about defense. Like, literally just buying into defense and not worried, like, letting our frustrations on this end dictate what we do on that end.
Really kick up there, like in the backcourt, the next line, I think.
So nothing changes, have to win the effort game. First set down the floor, want to run delay wedge again. They've heard the terminology, so I don't want to call it out on the fly. The first time down wedge. Now again, I imagine they would guard that screen.
There's the Perth Lynx huddle. They lead by 18 points as we get set for third quarter action at Red Energy Arena in Bendigo. Third versus fifth, critical game here. The Lynx can move alongside the Spirit if they can go on with the job here. Game 2 of their 3-game East Coast road trip. They'll stick around in Melbourne to play the Boomers on Sunday. The Spirit winners over Melbourne last Sunday at the Boombox. But Laurie, they've got some work to do here.
Well, they do, but they will maybe be buoyed by the fact that they were actually down by 15 against Melbourne and came back in that second half to win that game. But I don't know, Perth, if they continue to play at the pace and the accuracy that they're playing at, it's going to be hard to stop. But you have to make sure that you play your game. You don't get caught up in the style of game that the Lynx like to play. Do what's best for you, and if that's getting it through hands and shifting the defense and getting a good look, but take care of the basketball.
Interesting to hear Kelsey Griffin during the break talking to the players, suggesting that, hey, we can't let our frustration at shots not dropping at the offensive end affect what we're doing at the defensive end, and vice versa. So they've got some work to do here. We're going to learn a little bit about the composure and poise, mental fortitude here of Bendigo. Can they get the game back on their terms? Maley. Good start. And as we mentioned in the first half, Ryan Petrick says one thing about Bendigo, they play as hard as anyone in the competition. They are ferocious competitors. And they'll see this as a challenge to run down, and Annalee Maley can give them the ideal start.
Well, that was a good execution. They got the ball through hands, they reversed it, they had a penetration.
It's been that sort of night around the hoop for Annalee. Continued frustration, she's 2 for 10. Ryan has been fantastic. 13 points in the first half. She's 5 for 8. Off to Scherf, kicks it around, plenty of space, and that's always trouble. Sammy Whitcomb plus space equals 3 points.
Well, I know Lauren Scherf's a great foul shooter, free throw shooter, but I think you've got to leave her and not leave Sammy Whitcomb wide open.
Annalee going to keep pulling the trigger. That's the shooter's mentality. Whitcomb, ambitious ball towards Atwell. Off hands and out. Coming across. There's Kennedy Kerryama. Perth will retain possession. It went out off Annalee Maley. She had the last touch. Atwell with the inbound. Scherf. Ryan. Almost cut. Created space for Whitcomb. Kicks it wide. Shot won't drop for Sharp. Foul call as Bendigo trying to generate some energy from the bench. And Scherf sits down with 4 fouls. Gee, that's sneaked up on us. That would have a huge influence on the game.
It absolutely could, and Bendigo have to make sure that they're taking advantage of her having to sit right now.
That changes the dynamics completely. Gives Bendigo an opportunity now. Werrung, Maley, back to Abby, to Kelly Wilson. Shot clock down to 4. Will Kelly go herself? Puts the spin on Whitcomb. Party trick won't go. Doesn't hit the rim, so it'll be a Perth ball. So, Laurie, talk us through offensively and defensively now. The absence of Lauren Scherf, what does it do at both ends?
Well, certainly for defensively, for the Lynx means she's not that shot blocker. She's the leads the league in blocking shots, so she's that rim protector. So now Bendigo have that opportunity to penetrate in and maybe get a clearer look at the basket. And offensively, well, she's just such a target inside. If they collapse, then she kicks it out. She's got a great IQ, and she can shoot the 3, so be interesting to see how they cover for her.
Ryan, 40 minutes ahead now. They lead by 19, Perth, but Lauren Scherf out of the game for the moment with 4 fouls. Bibby sets a screen for Whitcomb and then rolls through. Great find, no finish. Froling can come away. Wilson combines with Werrung. Can pull the trigger herself. It's short. Kennedy Kerryama always says to Kelly Wilson, you're the best shooter in the team. Take more shots. She's so selfless. Ryan over the top. Bibby. Froling does enough. And a couple of interior wings here for Bendigo without Scherf. Maley. There's Wilson. There's the shot we're talking about.
Well, it is. I think that one in the play before, she wasn't really sure to shoot it. She was so wide open. But that one, she caught it in rhythm. Nice release. Great finish.
Games record holder in the WNBL. Kelly Wilson, what a player she's been. Lovely move from Sharp. Couldn't quite finish.
A couple of really good stops. And finishes. Annalee Maley sprinting the court.
The momentum starting to change. You can feel it. From the moment Lauren Scherf left the court, Bendigo have got a pep in their step, marching back to 14. As we mentioned, a couple of really critical minutes here for Perth to just stabilise. Ryan.
I think Bendigo done. Sorry, Jason, is they've come up with some great stops. They're playing some really solid defense.
Bibby wasn't aware. Thought it was going to be a backcourt violation. Shot clock runs to 3. Foul will be called on Froling.
There's a lot of confusion on that play, I think, by both teams.
So initially, I thought they were going to lose it. And then realised the shot clock was running down, so sudden urgency there for Perth. And they get bailed out by a foul. Alex Sharp will head to the line, a 75% free throw shooter across her career. She's gone 19 for 20 this season. Coming off 17 points and 8 rebounds against Sydney last Saturday, a personal best for her. She makes them both, as you'd expect with those numbers. Chance for Perth to just steady things down a little as Bendigo look to make a surge. Wilson wide open, gets to the hoop. Defensive breakdown there from Perth, and we haven't seen many of those. Ryan twisting, weaving, finding a way through traffic, gets Froling off balance. And called for the trouble herself. Kelsey Griffin up, Cassidy McLean up. Bendigo sensing their opportunity to fight their way back here.
Well, they are, and they just need to take it. They don't have to pile on all these points to begin with. They just need to keep chipping away. Playing the sort of defense they're doing right now and forcing Perth into that little bit of uncertainty in what they're doing.
They run Wilson, Maley. Good body work there from Sharp. They're going to get past on the baseline. Wilson gets the screen from Froling, goes herself, has to pop it over Atwell's head and does.
Well, that was so much more patience by Bendigo. It got through hands, it got to the corner. Annalie tried to punch it in, defense was there. See if Bibby can answer, and she does.
Big basket, that one. So right now you can feel that Bendigo are trying to close. Perth are trying to keep them at arm's length. Werung. Maley goes inside to Froling. Bibby forced to be the rim protector, and Alicia can lay in 2 more.
We know with her new shot in her left hand, she wants to finish on that left-hand side. Nicely done.
Marching back to 13. Ryan bounces off Wilson. He's called for the foul on the second contact. So an interesting time in the game. 5:39 left in the third. Bendigo trying to make their move. Perth trying to hold them back.
I agree with your remarks earlier, Jason, that Robbie Ryan has had, sometimes she plays a real a facilitator role, just bringing the ball up, but she's right into this game and doing a great job. Currently 13 points.
She's that sort of player who always probes the defense, doesn't she, Laurie? She gets the ball, tries to find her way through traffic. If something opens up, she'll use it or go herself. Bibby, heavy collision there with Kelly Wilson. Bibby suggesting she did not have last touch. Referee disagrees. Bendigo ball. Wilson to Maley. Allie Wilson gets to position, stops, props, won't drop. Maley gets the rebound, keeps it alive. That won't go either. Allie Wilson scrambling. Then Choi Carter's had some really important moments in this game. Ryan, Bibby gets McKay off balance, goes herself, tough finish, and Chloe makes it.
Really tough finish against contact.
Bounce pass from Wilson. Maley to respond. It's short once again. 4 for 14, Emily Maley tonight. Just having one of those nights, things not dropping, and that's a great finish from Bibby.
Split line help just a little bit late in coming across, but nevertheless, great finish.
15-point game, midway point of the third term. So in this third quarter, the Lynx have added 10 points. Bendigo have added 13, and that 18-point lead has been just reduced to 15. This time out brought to you by DIYblinds.com.au. Designer quality at the best prices. Pressure mounting in Bendigo. We've got a good one. Wednesday night hoops on ESPN.
For us is the Meg Hoycard matchup. And that's going to come through.
Have some poise. Offensively, again, on a miss, 5 out, but get into on-balls and play. Like many more on-balls without Loz playing point centre. Much more on-balls, much more handoff. Again, the two-man game's killed them all night. If on a make, find flat. Flat 4, flat 5. Again, it's still a 5-out series essentially, but I got more on-ball based. Again, down here, without Loz to bail our backside out with the boards, I need a gang rebound. Again, hit first.
They are running. You have to get back.
So the urgency in the voice there of Ryan Petrick. His side leads by 15, but they can sense Bendigo are surging here. And as he mentioned, Laurie, without Lauren Scherf, they've got a gang rebound.
Well, that's right. She's a great rebounder. She's a great rim protector, and so they need to do it by committee now.
And interesting to hear Kennedy Kiriyama say one of the critical matchups now is Clinch Hoykard. She's doing some damage. Ryan Whitcomb almost knocked away by Levy. Shot clock down to 7. What can Sammy come up with? Here is Clinch Hoykard, facilitator on this occasion. Ryan loses the handle and away comes Kelly Wilson. Opportunity for Bendigo now on the break. McKay rolls into the lane, but was uncertain of the option. Almost wasn't expecting it, Laurie, and travelled in the process.
Well, they just needed to run a little bit wider to give McKay a bit more room in the middle there. They were all, their spacing wasn't very good on that transition. They were running hard, but just not enough space.
Back to Robbie Ryan, sees an opening and takes it. She's been good tonight. She's up to 15 points.
She's been very good, very effective in what she's doing.
Ellie Wilson to Ellie Wilson. She's got McKay in the corner. Creates a little bit of space for Maley and holds it up. Shot clock down to 4. Will Kelly Wilson go herself? Puts it on the floor against Ryan. Spins. Tough finish. Brilliant from the veteran.
Well, they really got out of jail because there was a lot of standing around in that play phase for Bendigo, looking, you know, who's going to do something. And the veteran, Kelly Wilson.
Margin of 15 from the corner. Sharp won't go. Bibby draws a foul. So Kennedy Kiriyama at half-time was saying to his troops, let's try and get it back to under 12. Right now it sits at 15 with 3.5 to play. And you just get the feeling, Laurie, in the last 3 or 4 minutes that Perth have stabilised the situation. Bendigo surged early in the term when Lauren Scherf headed to the bench. And Perth have now managed to settle things down a touch.
They haven't, and for a while there it felt like Bendigo had just brought that margin right back down, but you know, Perth, to their credit, just a basket here, a basket there, sewing, and definitely have steadied the ship now.
Bibby makes both. So they're almost back where they started at half-time, which is a great result for Perth after Bendigo came hard at them early in the term. Here's Levy. Spirit are going to have to rise once again. Wilson, Froling. Can someone get hot for Bendigo? Werung inside. McKay extracts a foul out of Clinch Hoykard. We talked about the matchup, Laurie, without Scherf on. Clinch Hoykard's going into that position now, having to go up against the likes of McKay and Froling.
And I like that. It was good offense by the Spirit. They called that play. They got it through hands. McKay cut low. The ball was reversed. Nice angled pass inside. She'd made good position, done her work early. And not a lot that Clinch Hoykard could do about that.
62% from the line this season for Megan McKay. Margin sits at 18 now. Oh, sorry, 16 rather. Atwell knocked away Werung. Just over 3 minutes left in this third term.
I like the insertion of Werung back into the game. I think she's a really great defender, and putting her on.
Atwell, tough make. Does so well.
Isn't that always the case? You praise somebody for their defense and then they get scored on.
Well, you're right in saying, like Kennedy Kiriyama says, she's one of the best defensive guards he's ever seen in his 15 years coaching basketball. So he agrees with you. Knocked away on this occasion. Ryan Petrick doesn't get the call. So 15 points apiece for Ryan and Whitcomb. 9 points for Wilson, 10 for McKay now. Here's Atwell. Just manages to hang on to it. Pressure comes from Werung. Bendigo trying to turn up the heat here. Burrows. Fling pass was brilliant. And the finish from Bibby.
Slicing to the basket. Chloe Bibby, and a great find by her teammate. And she had to catch that and finish.
Clinch Hoykard gets a hand in. Another important moment for Mac. And Whitcomb. Atwell. Visit sting, but rattles around. Levy. Perth stabilised this situation magnificently in the third term. We've got the turn back level. Back to 18 as it was at the half. Can Lady slash it a little? Not with that. Ball goes to the deck. Werung comes in over the top of Clinch Hoykard. Great scrap, Werung. Would be a real lifter. Can she make it from the corner? Not quite.
That would have certainly brought the crowd to their feet.
Instead, Perth can take a little bit of sting out. Whitcomb, lovely look away, bounce pass to Clinch Hoykard.
She is just exceptional, Sammy Whitcomb, in her court vision. The way she just got her play, drew McKay, no-look pass in there. I tell you what, if you're her teammate, you have to be ready for the ball every single time.
So timeout called late in the term. Let's take you into the Bendigo huddle. Here's Kennedy Kariyama.
Middle pick and roll, we're in hammer. You two stood and watched. And then we shoot a long two off the dribble. That's the smart stuff we talk about. Like we get them to 12, and then we give up a 3 because we go to sleep on middle pick and roll coverage. So we're doing all this work, and then we just undo it. Defensively, black across the board. Offensively, Weeks, while we're playing too big, weak in the middle pick, hammer weak side. Biggs, make sure we continue to give big targets. Hold your seals longer so there's no play from behind. Here we go.
They're trying to find the Megan matchup. So again, high hand on her, weak side be ready to help.
So great opportunity to get into both huddles there. The urgency, the desperation, the frustration initially of Kennedy Kariyama, and then the urgency of Ryan Petrick in the Perth huddle. Laurie, what did you make of it?
Well, the thing is about Bendigo, and I could just sense Kariyama's frustration, is that if you've got a game plan in place and the players aren't executing and sticking to it, it's hard to then make adjustments because you don't know whether it's working or not working if they're not doing it. And so it is frustrating. And so I think then he got over his frustration and tried to simplify things and go, this is now what we're doing, this is the only thing we're doing defensively, and this is what we're doing offensively.
Abby Werung, 16 from 17 from the line this season. Almost automatic. Bendigo need these. Can they get on a run late and eat into this deficit and give themselves some hope to storm home in the final term? Liam Ellison, you're in the Perth huddle. You heard Ryan Petrick's comments early in the timeout. What did he have to say?
Unsurprisingly, a little bit more positive over on the Perth side of things, guys. Look, very much saying transition offense is working, keep going to it, reminding them that also they're one foul out of the bonus, so push the pace.
There's Clinch Hoykard again. She has been real trouble tonight for Bendigo. They haven't had an answer. She's having a super game, one of the best games of her career. In game number 28, Mac Clinch Hoykard, 24-year-old from Kalgoorlie. Here's Werung. Puts a step on Whitcomb, gets her off balance. It's short. Ryan, ball pings around. Wilson's in there as well. McKay comes in. Perth ball. Perth ball. Big smile on the face of Ryan Petrick. As we've said a couple of times, he's made a point. No one in this league plays harder than Bendigo. To see his players go just as hard this evening will make him very pleased indeed. Sammy Whitcomb with 15, and they've shared the load around. 15 for Ryan, 15 for Whitcomb, 12 for Atwell, and 11 for Bibby. Laurie, it's been a healthy spread.
Well, it has, and we keep talking about Scherf. He's played 17 minutes, and Clinch Hoykard has come in and, as you said, played a really significant role in rebounding, in setting some really good screens, and a couple of scores to her name as well.
She gets this one back, this free throw. Ricocheted long. Ryan. Bibby puts it on the floor against Maylee. Maylee wins that battle. Away she comes, 30 seconds left in the quarter. Werung, does she pull the trigger? Goes inside to McKay. Look at the black singlets around Meg McKay. She does enough to get a foul awarded. And she can go to the line with 24 seconds left. Again, look at that representation. Ryan Petrick called for gang rebounding, Laurie, and they're certainly getting into the right spots.
Well, they are, and that's why I give Megan McKay full credit there. She got herself into the body and held the seal. Even though there were lots of players around her, she was able to grab that ball and get a shot up.
64% free throw shooter on her career, so not a bad one to send to the line. She misses both there, but she keeps it alive for Bendigo. 11-second differential between shot and game clock here. Levy, shot clock to 4. They need to put one up. It's Werung. It's important, and she makes it. Final shot of the term. Whitcomb, tough. It's waved away. Foul was called before the shot went up. She'll go to the line and shoot 2. Foul just there. Reaching on Tessa Levy. Final 5 seconds of the third term. Quick inbound, Wilson. Will she go herself? Finds McKay. Rolls around and does not drop. And in the end, the Lynx win the quarter by 2. Bendigo got it down to 12 points. Perth stabilised and then re-established a very handy lead. And as we head for home at the Red Energy Centre in Bendigo, it is the Lynx 80, the Spirit 60.
We get no ball, we get a lap, we give up a lap in transition. We get an open 3, we give up an open 3. Okay? Unless it's late clock. Anything under 5, we switch. Now, we need to continue to pin the ball. Keep giving us targets inside. Guards continue to attack off the flip actions or curls off weak actions. They're good looks for us. Don't get passive. Defensively, hey, we can continue to extend our pressure, but maybe after foul shots, some 51 on or off is good for us also. First play, weak.
So I'll break glass. Like if it gets under 15-14, you're coming.
Third place Spirit on the ropes against the 5th place Lynx, down by 20 with 1 quarter to play in Bendigo. We start the final term. Ryan Atwell. Back to Robbie. Well done, Maylee. Force the turnover. Can Bendigo make inroads early? Put a bit of pressure here on Perth. Wilson inside. And Quinn Troycard fouls McKay. So Lauren Scherf sitting on 4 fouls. She's been off since early in the third term. Going to be interesting to see when Ryan Petrick brings her back into the game.
Well, I think when he has a 20-point lead, he'll be cautious that he doesn't need to bring her in right away and roll the dice with her.
See Bendigo make a roll here in this final term. He might be forced to. Ali Wilson hit the ground really hard there. That was a nasty one. Just a little bit of moisture on the court. She went crashing down on her right side. Great to see her get up quickly. A little bit sore, as you'd imagine. That was a really heavy hit. There's another look. Yeah, down hard. Thankfully she didn't hit her head. It was just the shoulder that took most of that and the hip.
Well, she was, as coaches want their players to do, she was cutting hard. She wasn't just, you know, going at a slow pace through that cut. She passed the ball in and then was cutting hard to receive it again.
She'll feel that tonight every time she rolls onto her right-hand side. The side's down by 20. Early stages of this final term.
Do you notice, Jason, as the season goes on and we get to this point of the season, there's a lot more taping and bandages we see on arms, knees.
It's a heavy schedule. Here's Wilson. Just ran out of options in the end. They turn it over. Foul on McKay. Bibby, good work from Kelly Wilson. It's been that sort of night for Annalee Maley. It's been an almost night for her.
It has, but I like that extended pressure by Bendigo. They don't want to, you know, go to the end of the game and die wondering whether they should have been up and at, you know. And as we know, they're not a team that's going to give up. They're going to fight to the end. So good extended pressure.
Lauren Scherf back into the game, Laurie. Team up by 20. Early stages of this final term. Ryan with the inbound. Atwell. Here is Scherf. Calls for some movement. Ryan provides it. Will Scherf go herself against McKay? Backs her up. Slight fumble. Lovely finish. Patient again from Lauren Scherf. Some urgency here for Bendigo. Maley. Wilson. Werung. Perth ball. So Werung ran into the screen. Another turnover. Their 11th, Bendigo, this evening.
What a great battle down low between two quality big players.
Atwell. Sure. Matched up this time against Wilson. Draws the traffic, kicks it out. Atwell from the corner, can't drop it. But Ryan keeps it alive. Amy's had a sider. This is the second as well. Away comes Werung. Wilson. Kelly to Kelly. Abby from the corner. He's good. Can she get them rolling? Feels like someone needs to have a hot hand here for Bendigo. They trail by 19.
Well, they can't afford to trade baskets. They really got to come up with some great stops.
Burrows to Scherf. Go herself, tries to lay it in. Away comes Maley, so a stop there for Bendigo. Another opportunity for points here. Wilson sets up. Doesn't get the user-friendly. Maley keeps it alive. Werung calls for movement. None forthcoming, so she hands it off to Wilson. Goes herself. Found the lane and found the basket.
Really explosive first set by Ali Wilson.
Burrows. Atwell set. Now they're not dropping for Perth. Opportunities here for Bendigo again down the floor to eat into this lead. They trail by 17, but still plenty of time. Wilson, can Annalee get going? Yes, she can. You can feel the atmosphere in the Red Energy Arena starting to lift once again for the Spirit. They're back within 14. Perth did such a great job in the third term at just stemming the flow, slowing things down at critical moments. Well done, Maley slaps it away. Still a Perth ball. Annalee involved again.
Well, I think their belief in their defense is all, you know, you get a few stops and all of a sudden the energy rises on the defensive end. Can see good anticipation by Annalee Maley, keeping Atwell in front, do it as a team. Everybody gets involved. Somebody comes up with an effort play, and it really rubs off on everybody.
Hasn't been her night offensively. 5 for 16, Annalise Maley, but it has not stopped her working hard to have an impact in the game. 13 rebounds, lots of big defensive plays. There's another. Taps it down. Wilson had Froling posting up. Go herself. Holds onto it. Off to Ali. Now Maley. Ali Wilson. Almost did everything but pull the trigger. Werung, a nice move on Whitcomb. Feeds Froling. Spins, finishes, won't go. Opportunity lost for Bendigo.
Sammy Whitcomb now just controlling the tempo.
The run and gun style of Perth will slow considerably, you would think, in this position. They're happy to run the shot clock down, take time off. They don't need up and back basketball in this final term. Werung, little floater. Once again, Atwell to Burrows. And instead of hitting the accelerator, happy to just hold things up, chew a bit of clock. Can she get something going? That's a great finish. Taya Burrows puts the spin on, kisses it off the glass. Brilliant. Werung. Ali Wilson for 3. Maley the tidy up. Spirit kept fighting. 14-point game.
I like the matchup of Ali Wilson on Sammy only because she's got the length, so she doesn't have to stay quite as close to her.
Sammy gets free and gets the bounce. Once again, Perth coming up with the answers as Bendigo look to surge. Maley to respond. Well, that's what Bendigo need. They need quick baskets. They want it to be a shootout. Perth, as we can see again from Sammy Whitcomb, happy to slow it down. Chew some clock, but she throws this one away. Bendigo ball.
So the thing for Perth is that whilst they might want to slow it down, they can't go negative. They can't play to not lose. They have to continue to play to win this game. They've got the ascendancy in this. Don't change how you're playing.
Especially when it takes you out of your own natural zone, which is to go fast, Laurie, and be so aggressive. It's worked for them well tonight.
All of a sudden you start second-guessing things.
Wilson, Lavey, all the energy right now was with Bendigo. The onus is on them to make something happen. Ali Wilson to Maley. Pass went just behind. Now Perth. Atwell to Scherf. Lauren spins, goes herself, kicks it out. Here's Burrows, who's been exciting. Bibby. Maley off her foot. That fumbly night for Annalise continues. It's been a frustrating one for her. Hasn't affected her work ethic, Laurie, but just one of those nights where fumbles just don't go your way, shots don't drop.
You're exactly right, though. High work rate by both teams.
Tyler Burrows with the inbound. Whitcomb under the hoop. That created space for Bibby. She doesn't finish, but Burrows looked to keep it alive. Wilson, Ali to Kelly. Back to Ali Wilson. Will drive the lane herself. Can't finish. Maley in the midst of it, can't pull it down. Bibby to Scherf. The foul called.
Bendigo at least are doing a good job of picking the ball up nice and early. You could see on that outlet pass, Annalise meant straight to the ball to make sure that she slowed it down so that they couldn't get any easy transition baskets.
Both these teams with challenging run home. Bendigo, all 6 games, with 5 now to come against top 5 teams. So they're playing contenders the whole way home. Here's Ryan. It's short, but it'll come back to Robbie. Thought about the give to Bibby. Instead, she'll go to Scherf, who pops it over the top for Sharp. Not on the same page. So Bendigo, 5 games against top 5 teams to finish. Perth, well, 6 of their next 7, which now will be 5 of their next 6 after tonight. 5 of their next 6 against top 4 teams. So Both these teams are going to find out exactly where they are over the next couple of weeks, Laurie. They're in the mix right now. It is going to be tight.
Well, when you look at the run home, everybody plays everybody in that top 5, and so each game becomes more and more critical.
The Lynx can hang on tonight. They will join the Spirit on 5 losses. Wilson, Maley.
Great receiver spot that on that penetration, Maley lifted out of the corner, found herself wide open for that 3.
It's up to 19 points. And in a heartbeat, it's an 11-point game. 3:20 left on the clock. So Perth need to start coming up with some points here, and Sammy Whitcomb draws a foul.
Well, you can't think of anybody better in this competition that when the pressure's on and the clock's going, have the ball in her hands. Sammy Whitcomb, the decision she makes, her ability to read the floor, whether she's going to go all the way, whether she's going to draw a defender and pass it, she's top class in that department.
And goes to the line and rarely misses. 26 of 29 so far for the season. A couple of important ones here. Just as the Spirit make one last lunge. They've got it back to 11. And she misses. Makes the second. It's a 12-point game. Can Bendigo get it inside 10? That's the first challenge. Only 3 minutes to play. They're going to need to go quick. They're going to need to get stops. They're going to need to hit their shots. Levy's wide open. That works. Inside double figures for the first time in a long time. It's a 9-point game. There's still 3 minutes left on the clock. And Bendigo still believe. You see Sammy just going down.
Yeah, it
wasn't
bad defense. She just slipped, unfortunately, for Perth, but a great shot by Levy, wide open. Sometimes when you're that wide open, you sort of hesitate and think, ugh, but no problem.
3-point shooting's been excellent, as we mentioned, this season. Came into tonight shooting 6 for 11 on the season. She's gone 2 for 4 tonight. So Ryan Petrick could still feel okay. 9 points up with 3 minutes to play, but he knows Bendigo aren't done yet. They've still got to close the door on this one.
His heart rate would be a little bit higher than it was a few minutes ago. No question about that.
Ryan, you just need a big play or two, you sense here. Sharp, Bibby, doesn't go. Bendigo ball. Away comes Wilson. They need to take every opportunity now. Kelly to the corner. Maley against Bibby. Now confronted. Back out to Kelly Wilson. Oh, yes! Here they come.
Wow.
It's a 6-point game.
At one point, Jason, it was 20, and I was thinking this could blow out to a 30-point game.
Wow, suddenly the clock not a factor. 6-point game, plenty of time on the clock all of a sudden. This timeout brought to you by Aussie Hoops, coming off its biggest year ever. Great program for kids aged 5 to 10. 42,000 kids enjoyed it in 2022. Here's Kennedy.
Better job of communicating earlier. Better job of limiting them to one shot per possession. The next offense. Can we go a week with Willie into a Froze Willie pick and roll with a hammer? Now, Maley, you've made one. Waves, you've made one. Willie, you're a green light shooter, so the space is going to be there now. But as we come off that screen, want the hammer. So Males, you set that for Kelly. Sorry, yeah, you know that. So Levy, sorry, you set that. So we have 2 shooters this side before Willie, you attack. Obviously, if it's deep drop, you can look to Snake, Froze roll behind. You have the option of yours on the rim, the roller, Males lift behind, 3 perimeter shooters.
So very different demeanour for Kennedy Kerryama. It's now about execution for both teams. Perth no longer, Laurie, have a lead they can sit on. So do they still play conservatively, or do they revert back to their aggressive style?
Well, I think they have to revert to what's comfortable. So I think they do need to push the ball, and if they're open, that's what they're used to doing. If not, bring it out, set something up. They'll have set up a play for this out of this timeout.
Whitcomb Trying to shake Levy, who sticks to the task. Sammy gets to position and finishes. Massive points for Sammy Whitcomb.
See, what was great about that, the call all along was probably Sammy, you go one-on-one. And the other players were setting a few screens, a back pick, occupying their defense, so there was no help.
So margin back out to 8. And a travel called on Ali Wilson. So the perfect scenario out of that timeout for Perth. They chewed some time off the clock, they came up with 2, and they get a stop. And suddenly, it's 8 points with 2 minutes to play, and Ryan Petrick can breathe just a little. It's far from over, but it certainly looks a lot better than it did 30 seconds ago. Ryan Wilson gives up the foul on Atwell. And so now the onus is back on Bendigo to make something happen.
Not such a bad foul, because if they need to stop the clock and they need to force a foul, the next one at least will result in shots.
Whitcomb with the inbound. Ryan against Kelly Wilson. Here's Scherf. Atwell. Sharp. Ryan. Put it through plenty of hands. Will Robbie go herself? Tough shot. Scherf over the top. What unfurling did just enough. Spirit need points from this offensive set. Can Wilson deliver? She's got Maley to the left. Ali Wilson. Will she take Ryan on? Looks for Froling. In the lane against Scherf. Spins and finishes. 6-point game again.
They need to come up a stop, Bendigo here.
Scherf.
They don't want to foul.
Ryan. Definitely don't want to foul late in the shot clock. Atwell. Sharp. Scherf. Backs in against Froling. It won't go. Maley comes up with the board. Door opens here for Bendigo. Can they come up with something? Froling's wide open. 4-point game. Final minute.
2-possession game still.
Whitcomb probing. Will she go herself? Tries to feed Scherf. Turnover, Bendigo ball.
That has been so effective in the past, that 2-man game with Scherf and Sammy Whitcomb coming off of it, making decisions. But the ball ended up coming off of them, and now we've got a spirit ball.
So final 2 minutes of the game. We can't go in and listen to the timeouts. So Laurie Chiswick, let's start with Perth. Ryan Petrick's demeanour and his message.
Well, I think, and Ryan's always very succinct in his message, and so he'll come in right now and go, all right, we're still up by 4, looking at the time, going, we need to come up with a stop. We can actually afford to foul them. We only have 1 foul to our name, so if things are looking tight and they're moving the ball around and we're getting out of position, foul them. They don't go to the line then. All right, so you can be a bit disruptive. They've got 3 fouls to give before they send them to the line. Not that you want to do that, but you want to make sure they know that.
And then from a Bendigo perspective.
Well, Bendigo, because they still need 2 shots, whether it's a 2 or a 3. Kennedy will be designing this right now. It's their ball, so they want to come up and get a pretty good quick hitter, so that if they don't score, they can foul straight away, send them to the line, and see what happens.
What a contest it's been. Perth led by 22 points. It never felt, though, at any stage that Bendigo were out of the game.
Well, it's just the nature of the way they play, the way they're coached. They're never going to give up.
It's all about execution. Final 45 seconds.
And you can see that the ball, he chose to advance the ball, so there's 14 seconds on the shot clock.
Levy, Wilson, biggest play of the night right here. Wilson to Wilson. Can Ali finish? She can't. But in the middle of that massive pack, Froling comes down with it and saves the day to keep it alive for Bendigo. Big board here from Alicia Froling. Scherf was in there. Sharp was in there. Bendigo retained possession. 6 on the clock. To bring it back within a 1-possession game.
It's really important they set some good screens here, whatever they're executing.
Froling. Instead, she goes to Wilson. Spins. Is there a foul? Shot doesn't drop.
Again, that's what I was talking about. They can afford that foul. It just goes to the end line now. Wilson's not shooting. What you don't want to do is foul them in the act of shooting.
So Kelly unable to have the ball heading upwards in the eyes of the referee before the foul was committed. So it's a baseline ball instead of 2 shots at the line. 33 seconds left. 14 on the shot clock. Wilson, Levy, they want a quick shot. It's good! 2-point game. 7-second differential between shot and game clock. Do Perth look to milk all this time off? They're still going to need to come up with points at the end of it. Whitcomb fumbles, regathers. Does she step on the line? She's called for a travel. What drama in Bendigo? A Wednesday night thriller.
You would never have predicted this at halftime, at the end of the quarter, third quarter. Wow, what a comeback by Bendigo.
Perth by 18 at the half, by 20 at three-quarter time. Called for the travel. So now, for the first time, Bendigo in control of their own destiny, Laurie, here in this comeback. They have the ball, they have 20 seconds left on the clock.
So when you have that much time left on the clock, you don't want to, it's not a tied ball game, so you don't want to use the clock and go for the last shot. You want to take the best shot that becomes available, but that if you miss, you have a chance for an O board to put back, or if they get possession, you have time to foul them and send them to the line. So whether that's at 10 seconds, 8 seconds, but in this scenario, it's not a tied ball game, so you don't want to run out the whole clock.
Let's see what they've drawn up.
Oh, I don't know about their heart rates, but mine are sure up there.
It's been a fantastic contest. We knew it would be. Third versus fifth, 2 informed teams, both on winning runs.
It'll be really interesting to see if they go for a 3 to take the win or just try and tie it up and go into overtime.
Wilson to Ali, turns it over, but she can get there in time. Still alive. Froling to tie it up, spins, can't shoot. Perth come up with the big defensive play when it matters most. Lauren Scherf in great position.
She did, she just kept her hands straight up.
Made life difficult for Froling. Couldn't get a clean access to the hoop.
Well, the other thing for Scherf is she knew she didn't want to foul her, on a shot and send her to the line. Very least was to tie it up, and now we see them perhaps going ahead.
Atwell misses the first, so Bendigo's still alive. If she makes the second, it's a 3-point game. Bendigo will get one last shot. It doesn't drop, but they get the rebound. It's still alive. Atwell kicks it out. And Whitcomb is fouled by Levy. Well, if you're going to miss, that actually turned out to be the best case scenario for Amy Atwell. After missing the first free throw, Laurie, if she had made the second, would have been a Bendigo ball, 3-point game. Now there's 0.8 left on the clock, and Sammy can go to the line to ice it.
That is just such a killer for Bendigo, for them to get an O board, and there's no time virtually left on the clock. Sammy, this will be probably a 4-point game. What a win for Perth.
The Lynx keep on rolling. Perth post their 6th straight win in an absolute thriller in Bendigo. They send a message to the top 4. They are coming and coming hard. Bendigo's 3-game winning streak has been snapped. The Spirit now with a 10-day break to regroup and prepare for the Boomers on Sunday week, while the Lynx also have a date with the league leaders. They'll face Melbourne at the Boombox this Sunday as they hunt 7 on the trot. Perth 92, Bendigo 88.
That was a game and a half to watch, Jason. That was such great women's basketball for the Cygnett WNBL. It was elite at both ends. There was momentum swings, comebacks. Just a great display from the athletes individually, as a team, the coaches, what they had to do. Wow.
What a performance from Perth. They got out to a 20-point lead at the final change. Bendigo, to their credit, as always, never gave up. They fought all the way to the final buzzer. But in the end, who would have thought the missed free throws for Perth in the end actually did them a huge favour. Well, Sammy Whitcomb was big down the stretch. She finished with 25 points, a game high. Here she is with Liam.
Sammy, that was a little bit closer than maybe some of us expected at home. How was it for you?
Yeah, I mean, look, you never want to give up a lead like that. I think credit to them, they made shots when they needed to, and I thought defensively we had lapses, and then obviously I turned the ball over late, and we just can't afford to do that against good teams. But luckily, we hung tough.
Second quarter was scintillating, though, from Perth. That's got to be encouraging.
Yeah, I mean, we really do like the way that we're playing offensively right now. We're moving the ball and sharing it, so it's exciting to see where we can go offensively.
Won 6 in a row now. Got to be feeling good as a squad?
I mean, we're, backs are against the wall a little bit. The top 5 teams right now, even 6, it's really close, so it's kind of, we feel like, we have to.
Somewhat going under the radar, maybe competition-wide. Is that something you like?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if people want to count us out and not worry about us, that's fantastic for us. We're just focusing game to game and playing as hard as we can.
Thanks for your time, Sammy.
Thank you.
Thanks to Sammy Whitcomb. Well, they had some big changes to their roster over the summer, over the off-season, rather. Laurie, we knew it was going to take them a little bit of time to gel. They've still got a nice mix there of youth and experience, though, and the likes of Robbie Ryan, Lauren Scherfs having a career-best season. Sammy Whitcomb delivers more often than not. And that young lady, Matt Clinch-Hoykard, played arguably the best game of her 28-game WNBL career.
Well, I don't think after 6 straight losses, they are going to fly under the radar whatsoever. And we know that Perth's a quality club. They're a good program. They're well coached. And we can see that they've just gotten better and better. And there's no better time of the year to be hitting your straps is at the pointy end. 6
straight wins for Perth. Draws them level with the Bendigo Spirit. What a fighting, gritty win it turned out to be. Liam Allison is with their coach, Ryan Petrick.
Ryan, it was a great second quarter, nervous last quarter. How do you assess the game as a whole?
Yeah, I said at halftime, even to Brad, I'm not sure we can play much better than what we did in the second. Obviously, the offense was great, but to hold them to 12 points in the second quarter or whatever it was, I think sometimes our defense goes unnoticed because our offense is so high-octane. And then in the fourth, I think the initial feeling was they just made everything. All hats off to them. Meantime, we couldn't hit the side of a barn from the free throw line, for a layup, for a 3. Just couldn't knock them out. I think we're up 18 or 20 at one point and missed 3 straight wide open threes. They came down and buried one. So part of the fun of the game, but why coaches go grey pretty quick.
Of course, really tough, finish to the season, if you like. You're playing all the best teams. You're obviously chasing down the 4. How do you feel going into this run home as you push for the finals?
In all honesty, mate, we're not looking at anything but whoever next is. And I know that's super lame and no one wants to hear the whole one game at a time rubbish. But the reality, the split second we look too far forward, we're out. So we just have to, whoever the next opponent is, and even the winning part, we just can't put losses in the loss column. That's all we're looking at right now is the loss column. We just have to avoid that. So Melbourne's next, find a way to win that one. And then, again, we know who's next, but we're not going to look at them until we get through Melbourne.
How's the trip been in Melbourne? Obviously, a bit of an East Coast road trip, if you like, some time to spend together as a team. Has that been good for chemistry?
100%. And that's the part, early on, you'd like to actually be on the road if you can help it, just for the team bonding and all that kind of stuff. So I think we're doing 9 days over here in a few different cities, and that's all a bit of fun. But, I mean, the last 2 years we did 35 days on the road the first time and 51 days on the road last year. So give us a 9-day road trip any time.
I asked the same question to Sammy. How do you feel about being maybe some of an underdog, if you like, going into the final stretch? Does that suit you?
Sure. We've won a few in a row, so we'll take it if that's the tag. I mean, the reality, everyone was saying the top 4 was set, or everyone, a lot of so-called experts were saying the top 4 was locked after round 5, which is a little bit crazy. But our style of play, we know if we can catch fire. Obviously, that second quarter is a pretty good example. If we catch it and we play our best basketball, we're really good. And that fourth quarter, when it doesn't go our way, we're not very good. So, again, we'll take the tag. We think our style of play suits us, and we're looking forward to whoever's next.
It's been a great run of form. A win's a win. Thanks for your time, Ryan.
Yeah, looking forward to that game on Sunday, the Melbourne Boomers and the Perth Lynx. That's going to be a fantastic contest. And as he said, this is why coaches go grey. In the second quarter, They couldn't miss. They had 34 points to 12. And then in the last quarter, Bendigo had 28 points to 12. Massive, massive momentum swings in this game.
Well, there were, and I liked his comments about, not looking ahead, and it's true. You really, especially when you're on the road like this, they'll have done all their preparation for this game. Now their focus will switch to the Boomers and get that done. But you can't afford to, I know everybody's going to see who's on the ladder and where everybody is, but you really do need to focus on that next opponent.
Well, they've certainly got the form on their side. As we mentioned, it's a big run home for them. 5 of their next 6 games are against top 4 teams. They play Melbourne, the Fire twice, then they play Adelaide away, then they play the Flyers and the Spirit. So all those other teams around them on the ladder. And the good thing, Laurie, when you're chasing, that's exactly what you want. You want to play the teams above you because a win that you get's one they don't.
Exactly, and we've got so many games in the next few rounds, as we mentioned, where these top 5 teams are just mixing it up and playing against each other. And, I went today earlier, I wrote down all the head-to-head between teams, and it's still, there's a lot of undecided head-to-heads, and that could play a big part in one who makes that last 4th position, and then the order of the ladder, because who knows, will finish top 2 and get home court advantage.
It was a fantastic Wednesday night contest in Bendigo. Back to wrap up with Laurie Chiswick next. It was Perth 92, Bendigo 88.
So what have we got in this last bit?
I think we've got the games to come.
Go to 3 of 11 shooting so far in this game. Mitchell splits the double, slicing through.
That is classic Tiff Mitchell.
In transition, 2-on-2 for Melbourne. Nice Euro step on the left hand. With such confidence at the moment, Ali Wilson. Mitchell again off the dribble, crossing on McKay. Too slick.
Smart play if you can get the call.
Speaking of smart, Sammy Whitcomb back on the floor, driving hard, scoring straight away. Now Ryan, Whitcomb from way downtown. Oh my goodness! From Burrows, great recognition is there from Burrows.
Cole to Jackson. Oh, this is some sort of start from Lauren.
Delj wheels and spins and gets the finish inside. Led by the GOAT.
Speaking of, there's 2 more.
For the 3-point line.
Get it through some hands. Jackson gets open and gets it to go.
Wallace Mitchell for three to end the first quarter. Mitchell with the steal into the open court. Can't get her easy bucket, Tiff Mitchell. Seen that a few times this afternoon. Ailey picks it off with the steal. Bendigo have pulled it off at the boombox and defeated Melbourne by 5 points.
Tiana from the corner. It's blocked.
Massive block.
Nadio Poch. Another block from Poch. And Southside get out of jail. She's been a lot of close games so far this season, Laurie, and tonight was another one, a 4-point game. 99 Perth, Bendigo 88 after Perth led by 20 points at the final change. A fantastic final quarter of basketball. In fact, it was a fantastic 4 quarters of basketball. It was really entertaining, as you mentioned. Both teams had times in the game when they were on top offensively, on top defensively. Tactically, things swung around a lot. The coaches both had to work the boards hard tonight. It was great to watch.
Well, there were some times when there was just no scoring either. It was just up and down, and then all of a sudden it would come with a flurry. But my goodness, there were some great individual performances and just the way both teams went about doing it. They shared the ball. Even Burrows here, nice little finish there. The athleticism, Sammy Whitcomb did some great things on her own scoring, but some of her assists, her no-look passes to her teammates were spectacular.
The spread of contributions across the floor for the Lynx tonight was really impressive. Some of the role players, certainly the big-name players like Scherf and Whitcomb, did what we know they can do. But then you look at the role players that came on and did their roles like Clinch Hoykard, and you mentioned Burrows. That was just a really good, strong team contribution. And you take a look at it, in the end, they had 6 less shots. Perth came up with a 4-point win. As we take a look at those numbers, Laurie, and as you'd expect, not much between them at the end of the day.
Well, there's not. And you look at Bendigo, and they're 50% from the three-point line, 46%. Those are winning numbers against, during most games. So I think it was some of those uncharacteristic turnovers in the first half that probably really hurt them. And then Perth's just experience down the end and the way they were able to execute and get it done.
So Bendigo have a 10-day break to prepare for the Boomers, while the Lynx will face the Boomers at the Boombox on Sunday. So 1 game down, 4 to come in round 12 of the Cygnett WNBL. Friday night we head to Townsville as the Fire host the Canberra Caps. Saturday night it's the Lightning hosting the Flyers in Adelaide. Then a Sunday doubleheader tipping off with the Flames and Fire at Kudos Bank Arena, followed by Melbourne and Perth at the Boombox. Laurie, what a game that promises to be to round out the weekend, Melbourne and Perth.
Well, again, all those other games that you know that the ones in the top 5, you have to win. You can't automatically say, oh, we're going to beat, the Capital. They have to come out ready to play. But again, that Melbourne-Perth game, two of the top 4 teams, becomes crucial for both of them. Melbourne are coming off a loss. We're not sure about Mia Murray and her situation. Perth will be high off this game, and so, again, another really important game for this round.
All those games available streaming live on 9 now. Well, the big story of the week in the WNBL has been the absence of Shane Heal and Shyla Hill from the Sydney Flames. There was a tweet went out on Wednesday afternoon which explained that Shane and Shyla wouldn't be available last week. They didn't play on the weekend either. Laurie, we asked the club for comment this week. They said there's no further update at this stage. So right now we're not sure whether the Heels will be involved in that game on Sunday against Townsville. Unusual situation, not a lot of information that's come out. What have you made of it all? And can you remember anything quite like this?
I certainly can't remember, and it's very quiet what's going on, and I guess there's an investigation, and they want to keep it in-house as to what's going on, so it's hard to sort of make any comments about it, but it's unfortunate that we're not getting to see Shyla play, but I have to say I give full credit for Shelley Gorman stepping into the position of head coach. She's a legend of Australian basketball. She's done a great job stepping in a very difficult situation. She wouldn't know whether she's there for 1 game, 2 games, the rest of the season. So there's a lot of pressure on her, but I think she's handled it really, really well.
Well, next week, our Wednesday night WNBL Game of the Week on ESPN. Should be another critical game in the race for the top 4. Perth Lynx in action once again. They'll host the Townsville Fire in Perth. So given it's a WA game, it'll be at the later time of 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 local Perth time. Promises to be worth the wait. Perth and Townsville, 9:30 Eastern next Wednesday night on ESPN, your home of hoops. Well, that wraps up tonight's coverage from the Bendigo Basketball Centre. What a fantastic game it turned out to be. Perth in the end holding on for a 4-point win. On behalf of Laurie Chiswick, Liam Allison, our entire production team, thanks so much for watching. Catch us again next Wednesday night for more WNBL action right here